Hello, I'm Dustin M. Hoffman, and I'm so thrilled to have the chance to read a little bit of my story that's going to be in the new issue of Faultline. The story is called Kill Your Music, and it's dedicated to my dear friend Daniel McDonald, who was the drummer in my punk rock bands back long ago in another life. In fact, I found an ancient picture from us playing punk rock in a coffee shop, and there's Dan there. I think we got in trouble for being too loud. That was back in high school. Anyway, long, long ago. This story's called Kill Your Music. Ono wants to be the drummer, is aching to play his first show, aching so much his fingertips sting. But Johnny Ventricle, frontman of the Imperial Coronary, says there will be no traditional verse, chorus, trudging through the predictable setlist show tonight. Vindication, eradication, and eruption will be their show, Johnny says, and a glob of Johnny's spit lands on Ono's nose. He worries wiping it would violate Johnny's punk rock principles. We will be rock and roll assassins, Johnny tells Ono, and Too Bad backstage. Too Bad smirks, chugs down her Pabst, balances the empty on her dreadlocked head. Ono tries to hold his smile, tries to keep nodding as gravely as possible, tries not to look at the crowd buzzing and smoking in front of their stage. Ono follows behind Johnny under the stage lights, and he imagines the crowd's rib cages and lungs rattling to his kick drum to their music. He swallows the loss lumping in his throat. This would have been his first real show, his first time performing instead of just basement practicing. Always practice and practicing, and now he has lugged his drum set out into the adjacent forest only to listen to his guitar player rant. Just because we play punk rock doesn't cleanse our sins, Johnny preaches at the crowd, arms outstretched. We're doubly guilty in our self-awareness of the fucked hegemony. And then Johnny explains how killing music at its source is the only way they can fight the machine of leather pants squeezed over fake cocks and pyrotechnics and go-go dancers and lolling tongues and Viagra long guitar solos and one-hit wonder soap opera spewing ballads. They must slay the means of production, and from the shards they'll emerge pure artists, phoenix-fired revolutionaries. Frying under spotlights, Ono tries to meditate on postmodern anti-rock aesthetics and slaying. But the crowd makes teeth throb inside his gums. They flick lighters, cast random glows on lips and noses, sterling studs and septum rings winking, and then back to dark. Their faces shuffle like the leaves on the darkened poplars that canopy over the stage. Ono wishes he had his drum set to hide behind, buried in the hum of his hi-hat, lost in the rattle of his snare spring, the whomp of his kick, camouflaged within the throb and thrum of Too Bad's bass rig, the scratch and fuzz of Johnny's Marshall amp, its broken gain knob cranked to the right. Ono's drum set waits out in the woods for whatever anti-show Johnny has in mind. Ono's drum set he earned working 4,000 hours of silence. He worked as the library janitor at the university after he quit going to school because school took too long. The financial aid checks paid for classes where he had to sit and be silent because if he made a sound, the professors would call on him and pity him for being not only pathetically poor, but also pitifully stupid. The library's silence, at least, was his choice. During shifts, he divvied out his minimum wage pay in his head, rent, food, electricity, or a new used hi-hat stand. He would choose no electricity, practice starvation, cut rent, and sleep in his van. It beat his parents' trailer where he'd grown up. On cold nights, he'd sleep in the library stacks and dream next to the Marxist criticism and existential philosophy. Johnny loops a noose around the neck of his Epiphone, cinches the knot tight. We've gathered here tonight to refuse the rock gods. Farewell, long hair and leather and groupie blowjobs and gladiatorial coliseums of exploitation disguised as sold-out sports arena concerts. Johnny grips the guitar neck, cocks back his arm. Tonight, you all witness execution. Johnny thrusts the Epiphone, and it swings into the tree branches. Johnny wraps the rope around his wrist. The guitar jerks sickly in midair, and the crowd cheers. All right, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the new issue of Faultline.